Hi, I'm Courtney Collins.
Better known as the Troublemaker. And I'm A-Leaf Bay, Mr. Phenomenal.
And I'm Kevin Johnson, known as Waterbed Kev.
And welcome to another edition of Big Apple Sports Network.
Edmund hiding under the rocks. When we get in there, we taking the show of whoever. I don't care if Waterbed sitting there, A-Leaf, Courtney, they got to get up out them seats, man. I got something to say.
And this week here, we're going to talk about the phenomenal games we had this week in all the divisions.
The upsets.
The losers.
And definitely some surprising wins. But also we have some phenomenal guests.
Man, we in Brooklyn, man. We in Brooklyn.
I can't wait to.
He's looking for that playbook that I dropped in my car the other day.
Well, speaking of playbooks, Mite division. A lot of playbooks out there. Jamaica Bulldogs are still undefeated.
Oh, definitely. You know, like I always say, Lance and them at that level. You know, what could you say when it comes to Mighty Mites, when it comes to the Bulldogs?
I'll tell you this, though. They might fall off in the other divisions, but in the Mighty Mite division, they are still 5-0. They beat the New York Warriors on this weekend. And also, surprisingly, still 5-0, the Renegades. It was a misprint last week on the show.
Oh, well,
yes, it was. Yes, it was.
It was a misprint.
Right.
Yes, that was a misprint.
Big error.
The Renegades are still unscathed.
So next week coming up, we're looking at the Renegades 5-0, Jamaica Bulldogs 5-0.
Right.
I think that's one of the big key matchups for next week's game.
And what's so phenomenal is it's a Mighty Mite game.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Also in that Mighty Mite division, you have trailing the Razorbacks.
And you don't want to count
3-2.
them out, you know, even though they take a terrible loss this week in the rain against the Renegades,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But over there in Mount Vernon land, they saying that everything is okay. They re-rounded up the troops and everything,
Right.
and they're marching forward.
Well, they march forward in other divisions, that's for sure. I can tell you that. Well, I'll tell you this though. For now, Mount Vernon is 3-2, and trust me, we're glad to have them 3-2 away from us. in that also that Mighty Mite division and the other divisions. NFC. Staten Island Hurricanes leading the Heat. Currently at 3-1-1 at this present time.
Well, you know,
Coach Jello got their job again this week.
he was on the fence. You know, I happened to hear that Tony from the Hurricanes, the president Tony Barnes, had sent some threatening messages out there. It's win or go home, you know.
And it wasn't the kids going home.
No, it wasn't the kids going home.
I think it was the coaches going home.
Right. I believe he sent me an email on that one.
So he's Coach Jello and Coach Ahmad. Your job is safe for another week.
You know, also over in that division, you know, I mean, not having a great season as an organization like they normally do.
Right.
But the Ravens, Mighty Mites are 3-1-1 also.
Yeah.
So that's a tie right there with the Hurricanes, and
That's like a divisional matchup maybe for the playoffs.
Absolutely, and I think again the Ravens are again another tough program when it comes down to the younger division. When they win in the younger divisions, they win. And this is a tough team. And believe you me, when you're dealing with the Ravens, as we always say, in October and November, that's a team that can win at any course. So you never know with that team. Who surprised me, who's on the downside this year, are the Springfield Rifles at 2-3.
Yeah,
Took a slide.
Normally those guys are right at the top of this division,
Right.
fighting with the Hurricanes and things of that nature.
Correct.
But you know, time do bring about change.
Absolutely. And this is a change, it's an unpleasant change for the Rifles.
And when you're playing in the Big Apple, you're playing with the best, you never know who's going to take you out.
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely. Every week, like I always say, you got to come to play.
Let's jump over to that junior Peewee division where some upsets was going on.
Whoa.
Oh, well.
Big surprise this weekend.
You know, for some of us, it was surprising. But for some people, they don't think it as
They walked around like the big dogs.
They feel that that's how it was
supposed to be.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
You know? And the Rifles beat the Hurricanes this weekend. And here the Rifles win this game in the junior Peewee division. I know Coach Trevor is ecstatic, as Mike Tyson would say.
Yeah. You want to know something? One thing I can say about those two gentlemen, Ant Barnes Is that Trevor calling in now?
That's probably Trevor calling now.
Right now.
He's still on the high.
Yeah.
He know we going live from the Big Apple store. He calling right now. He want his saying it.
But Trevor and Barnes are always at battle when these two guys meet, you know.
Yes.
I mean, for the past couple of years, it came down to these two teams and who's going to the Super Bowl, which means who goes to Florida.
Absolutely. And
Well, I call it an upset because when you have Ant Barnes that won two Nets championships, I call it an upset. He's done a great job in his league and he's won many championships. But going to nationals, total different thing. So I hold Ant Barnes to the highest point. So that's an upset in my book.
Point well made, Waterband.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think I think one of the things that you said is really true is that when you're dealing with a team like the Rifles, you're gonna always have that kind of fight with the Hurricanes and Rifles.
Oh, yeah.
That's just a nemesis. Batman had the Joker. It's just the way it's gonna be, and it's never gonna change. So these guys balance each other out in that fact that bottom line is those guys play the game and play really hard. That's what makes the Hurricanes such a good program. That's what makes them national championship sharp.
So now that puts the Hurricanes and the Gladiators from Yonkers tied for second place.
And Coach Jerry is loving every minute of this, ladies and gentlemen, because Coach Jerry believes that he has the best team in the division despite his one loss.
Yeah.
He thinks this one loss was a fluke.
We all think a loss is a fluke.
because I took one this week.
And speaking of losses and flukes, let's go to the Mount Vernon Junior Peewee division against the Renegades in the Junior Peewee division, because you have the Razorbacks literally lived up to their name. Their name was Razorbacks, and they literally cut the Renegades back
come
and
out
forth.
shop this weekend?
Well, there was like a two-edged sword. They cut the Renegades from the back to the front, and it didn't stop from the Junior Peewee down. It kept going all day long.
Well, I heard out at the Renegades field that the Razorbacks were having Renegade meat.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what that meant.
Did they put it on the pork thing and they wind it up like that?
I'll tell you
that's how it went.
I'll tell you like this. I had ribs and I went home. The Junior Peewee game, I was a little sick and I went home. I got my spare ribs and I enjoyed a good Renegade dinner because I left the rest of that craziness at the field this weekend.
Wow.
Well, so Mount Vernon is in first place currently in that division. Again, Coach Jomo did a great job. That whole program did an excellent job. And again, it's going to be really difficult to beat Mount Vernon. I'll tell you this. In running what they're running, they run that wishbone, tight, compact wishbone formation. And I'm going to tell you, if you don't have a good defensive line, those guys get up on you really close, you're going to have a problem.
You got to be disciplined when you're playing against those guys. If you're not disciplined, number one, you will lose sight on who has the ball.
Right.
Number two, those guys will smack you in the mouth on a trap.
Absolutely.
And number three, they got some fast kids that can get to the outside.
Absolutely.
So if you don't have those kids that's disciplined,
right,
or ready to play some ball, or ready to go at Mount Vernon, and believe me, I know, because I'm telling you something, they was tough right for me last year, and it was tough for me this year. Let me tell you something, if you're not disciplined, ladies and gentlemen, you will be going home.
Definitely.
So Coach Lou, you didn't take lessons from the two masters. And you will be going home.
Well, he went home actually that time. And he had thrown out the game to boot. So he went home twice.
Threw the flag. He's out of here, Coach.
So Mount Vernon is in the first place spot in that Junior Peewee division now. So they moved ahead of the Renegades, and both of them have a 3-1-1 record matching. And you have the Chiefs bubbling under at 2-3. Again, the Chiefs.
Let's correct that. 2-1.
Okay,
don't try to get away from that Renegade time.
Well, we stand corrected. The Chiefs are 2-1, but they're in a ticklish position because they have the task of beating the Jamaica Bulldogs in 2 weeks. You guys play the Bulldogs, and that's gonna be a tough one.
Don't try to take us beyond. This week we have Mount Vernon. We had Jomo on the phone earlier today. He was sending all kinds of messages.
Smoke screens, everything, right?
Yeah. This gentleman, he wants to be heard.
Jomo's in the building,
we
ladies
can
and
get
gentlemen.
Jomo in here. We had to sneak him into Brooklyn. The Renegades were sending all kinds of hits out on him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got Jomo in the building. We got him in Brooklyn. He's here. He's about to join the team. And it's going down.